Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're going to be, we're diving into something I think everyone can relate to. We're going to be talking about relationships, romantic relationships, and how to build strong and lasting ones. We got a really, really interesting source for this deep dive, and I have a feeling we're going to have a lot to unpack today.
It's definitely a topic people have been interested in for centuries. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
And this source, even though it's in Spanish, it has wisdom that I think anyone can relate to no matter what language they speak.
Yeah, it just goes to show you, right? It's like those core things, the ingredients for a good relationship, they're kind of universal.
Absolutely.
So this source, it boils things down to six key elements.
So
Six.
six, yeah.
I love a good list. I'm a list person, so I'm ready. Lay it on me. What's the first one?
All right, well, get ready, because the first one is deseo, desire.
Desire. Okay.
But it stresses that it's more than just, surface level attraction.
Yeah.
It's got to be deeper than that. You have to find your partner captivating.
So it's not enough to just be like, oh, they're cute. There's got to be something more. Right.
Right, exactly. The source actually uses this analogy of a delicious dessert. Like you crave it even after the first bite. That's what it should
Oh,
feel
thanks.
like. Yeah.
So it's like you want that second slice of cake, that second date. It keeps you coming back for more.
Yeah. It's about shared fantasies, playfulness, keeping that spark alive. Even after the initial excitement maybe fades a little, you know how it goes? You got to nurture that flame.
Okay, so then how do we do that? How do we keep things exciting? Because I think we all want that in our relationships, right? It's like, how do we keep that spark alive? What's the secret sauce?
Well, that's where this next element comes in. It's admiration.
Admiration, admiration.
And that goes beyond just respecting your partner. It's more about having this genuine fascination with them, maybe even a little pride in their qualities.
So it's deeper than just like appreciating that they remember to take out the trash.
Yes, exactly. That's a great way to put it. It's like those times when you think to yourself, wow, I can't believe how lucky I am to be with this person. Like maybe they tell a really great story, or they just did something incredibly kind for a stranger. It's about recognizing those moments, those little moments of brilliance in them, and just really feeling that sense of admiration for who they are as a person.
So you actually admire their character, not just like their dishwashing skills, but like who they are at their core.
Precisely.
And that probably feeds back into the deseo, right? It's all connected. The more you admire someone, the more you want to be around them, I'd imagine.
Absolutely, like a positive feedback loop. And, the more you desire them, the more you're probably going to find more reasons to admire them. It's fascinating how that works.
That is so interesting. This is already making me think about all my relationships in a different light. This is good. Okay, so we've got desire, we've got admiration, all these great things simmering. What's the next ingredient in this recipe for relationship success?
Okay, so this next one it's a little more lighthearted,
Okay.
but equally crucial. Humor, it says, and syntonia,
Syntonia, okay.
which means being on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
Shared sense of humor and aligned values.
Okay, I get the humor part, like laughing together, that's huge. But what about this whole being on the same wavelength thing? How does that play into a strong relationship?
So we're talking about those fundamental things,
Yeah.
Like your core values, maybe your political views, your sense of humor, those things that really shape how you see the world.
Yeah, yeah,
You don't have to agree on everything, of course,
yeah.
but sharing similar values, especially when it comes to the big stuff, that can make a huge difference in the long run. Trust me.
It's like you just get each other, even when you're not saying anything, like you're on the same frequency. Yeah.
That's a cool way to think about it. Okay, so we've got desire, we've got admiration, shared laughter, and this deep alignment. What else is in this magical recipe for relationships?
So the next one it talks about is sensibilidad and entrega,
Oh, okay.
which translate to, well, sensitivity and surrender.
Surrender. Whoa, okay. That sounds kind of intense. What does that even mean in a healthy relationship? It makes me think of those, like, those movies where someone totally loses themselves and it never ends well? Yeah, no, you're right. That's a good point. And the source definitely isn't saying you should, like, completely lose yourself. It's more about being willing to really understand, to share your partner's, like, their inner world, their emotions. It's about being sensitive to their needs, their joys, really putting yourself in their shoes.
So, like, even if you haven't had the exact same experiences, you can still try to get where they're coming from. You can be there for them emotionally.
Exactly. You got it. It's about recognizing that, hey, you and your partner, you're two different people, and you're choosing to do life together, supporting each other, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes that means offering support, even if you don't completely understand the situation.
Yeah. It's about just being there, being present with them in those moments, offering comfort. Man, I can see how that would like really create such a stronger bond in a relationship. To know that someone's there for you no matter what. Okay, this is really good stuff. So we've got sensitivity, surrender. What comes after that?
All right, so this next one might seem kind of obvious, but stick with me because it's actually more nuanced than you might think. Respect.
Respect. Okay, yeah, that's a big one. But I'm guessing the source goes a little deeper than just like be nice to each other.
No, you know
Really?
me too well. It goes way beyond just being polite. This source, it says you have to see your partner for the individual they are, not as like an extension of yourself or a project to fix.
Oh, that's good.
It's about honoring their thoughts, their feelings, even when you don't agree with them, even if they're different from your own.
If you're not trying to change them or put them in a box, you're celebrating who they are. That's awesome.
Exactly. And you're respecting their choices, even if you wouldn't make those same choices yourself. And, this source, it also talks about the importance of boundaries in a relationship.
Boundaries. Yeah.
Recognizing that you are two separate people, choosing to be together, which is pretty amazing when you think about it.
It is. It's like saying, I see you, I love you for you, and I respect that you need your own space, your own thing. And that's so different from like all those, those clingy relationships you see all the time. So we've got desire, we've got admiration, humor, sensitivity, respect. What's the final ingredient? What's the secret sauce to make this relationship really last?
Okay, so this is the sixth and maybe the most important element. It's honestidad,
Honestidad.
paired with communication, honest communication.
Okay, that feels huge. I feel like everyone says communication is key, but like, what does that actually look like, when it comes to relationships? What does this source say about that? It's one of those things that's like easier said than done, like, oh, just communicate. But how? How do you actually do it?
Well, the source says it's not just about, saying whatever's on your mind. It's about actually listening to what your partner is saying.
Yeah.
And really responding to that, not to what you think they mean or what you wish they would say,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
but to their actual words and the feelings behind them.
That's the tricky part. It's so easy to let your own stuff get in the way, like all your baggage, your own interpretations, and then you're not really sharing them anymore.
Exactly. It takes practice. This source, it really stresses that active listening thing, being present in the conversation, asking questions to make sure you understand.
So it's like you're creating this space where you can both be vulnerable with each other.
Yes.
And really share what's going on inside because the other person's actually listening and trying to understand.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah.
It makes all the difference.
Yeah, it really does.
And, it's not always easy, right? Yeah. Being honest, it takes work. It can be uncomfortable sometimes, but it's the foundation for a strong connection that lasts.
It's funny because when I think back on everything we've talked about today, the desire, the admiration, the shared sense of humor, the values, sensitivity, respect, and now this honest communication, it's like
it's a lot.
It's a lot, but it's like they all work together.
They do. It's like building a house. You need all these different parts, but they have to work together to make something strong, something beautiful, something that can handle anything.
That is such a good analogy. Man, you really got me thinking today about my own relationships and how I can bring some of this stuff in, like that admiration. I love that concept.
Yeah.
And being on the same wavelength, that syntonia, it's good stuff.
It is. And, it's not just for romantic relationships either, right?
That's so true.
It applies to, really any close relationship in your life.
With your family, your friends.
Yeah. Thinking about these elements, it can really help you no matter what your relationship status is.
It's about connecting with the people you care about on a deeper level. That's what it's all about, right?
That's it. You said it.
This has been great. This deep dive has been amazing. So, listener, as you're, out there navigating this crazy world of relationships, remember these 6 things and think about which one really speaks to you, Which one can you focus on bringing into your own life?
It's been a pleasure talking about all this with you today.
It really has. And thank you, as always, for joining us on the deep dive. We'll be back next time with more fascinating deep dives into, whatever you send us. Keep those conversations going, and we'll see you next time.